have a country that is going to be very rich. It's a country that we're very proud of, but it's going to be very rich.
Imagine walking into your local grocery store, only to find half the shelves bare, the prices on what's left jacked up, and a store closing, sign taped to the door. This isn't some far-off dystopia. It's happening right now across America. In just the last 18 months, over 1,000 grocery stores, from Walmart's giant supercenters to the bare-bones Family Dollar down the street, have locked up for good. Every closed store means fewer jobs, silent checkout lanes, and neighborhoods left without a lifeline for basics like milk and bread. And the trouble's far from over. New tariffs, hitting 25 to 50%, are slamming everything from imported oranges to the metal cans holding your soup, pushing food prices into a whole new stratosphere. Shoppers already reeling from high grocery bills are now staring down another wave of increases, with every apple, coffee bag, and dish soap bottle carrying an extra cost. But here's the thing, someone's making bank while this chaos unfolds. We're going to dive into why Walmart's produce section is looking sparse, while local farmers markets are packed to the gills, and what that shift could mean for your grocery run in the coming months. The big question is this: will Washington back off these tariffs to save your wallet? Or are we headed for a future where empty stores and sky-high prices become the new normal? Hang tight, because 5 major players are shaping this crisis, and you're about to meet them. First up, let's talk about Walmart, the retail behemoth that's starting to wobble. Earlier this year, the company quietly announced it's closing at least 10 stores across 8 states by the end of 2025. They blamed poor performance, but that's corporate speak for something much bigger. Back in May, Walmart's CFO, John Rainey, didn't mince words in a news interview. The new tariffs are about to hit staples like bananas, avocados, and coffee from countries like Mexico and Peru, and that means higher prices are coming. These aren't fancy items. They're the everyday essentials low-income families rely on to get by. A 10% tax on Costa Rican avocados.
The tariff on bananas would be representative of the countries that produce them.
And what's that tariff?
Generally 10%.
Correct, 10%.
Or a 15% hit on Mexican bananas might not sound like much, but for shoppers stretching every dollar, it's a gut punch. Walmart's margins are already paper thin, and they can't keep eating these costs forever. By the end of the month, they're planning to pass those increases on to customers. When the biggest retailer in the world says prices are going up, you better believe it's a signal of trouble. For families who shop at Walmart to save money, this means fewer options, smaller carts, and bigger receipts before the summer's over. The fallout is like a chain reaction. Suppliers get fewer orders, shelves get emptier, and stores in low-income areas start closing. Is Walmart turning its back on its core customers just to protect profits? Let us know what you think in the comments. This isn't just about one company. It's about a trade policy meant to shake up global markets, now hitting your grocery cart hard. The trouble's spreading, and Kroger's feeling the heat next. In late June, the grocery chain dropped a shocker. They're shutting down about 60 stores over the next year and a half to stay in the black. That's roughly 5% of their nearly 2,800 locations, and it's going to cost them a hefty $100 million in financial charges. This comes on the heels of their failed $24.6 billion merger with Albertsons, which fell apart last December when federal judges said no way. That collapse left Kroger's growth plans in shambles, with no new stores to balance out the ones they're closing. And then there's the tariff problem. Canada and Mexico slapped 25% levies on grains and rice, which are staples in Kroger's inventory. Industry insiders told trade outlets these tariffs are already driving up costs, forcing Kroger to cut back on the discounts shoppers love. It's a domino effect. Tariffs raise prices, profits shrink, stores close, and suddenly there are fewer deals and less stock on the shelves. Kroger's interim CFO, Todd Foley, admitted they're racing to find new suppliers to dodge these costs. But that's no easy fix when your key products are caught in the crossfire. For communities, this means losing local grocery stores, paying more for what's left, and worrying about where employees will go next. Investors are nervous, wondering if a recovery's even possible. This is what happens when a trade policy wave crashes into your daily life, turning international deals into higher prices at the checkout. If Kroger's pullback has you concerned, drop a note in the comments, because Target's story is up next, and it's not looking any brighter. Target's once vibrant produce aisles are starting to look deserted, and the numbers tell a grim story. On May 21st, the company reported a first-quarter sales drop of 3.8%, 3 times worse than what analysts predicted. In just 2 days, nearly $10 billion in market value disappeared, part of a 40% slide over the past year. About 30% of Target's store-brand goods come from China, now hit with a 30% tariff. The company can't keep absorbing those costs without passing them on. If they raise prices, budget shoppers will head to dollar stores. So instead, they're making tough cuts, pulling slow-selling greens, scaling back bakery items, and pushing back holiday candy orders while suppliers scramble to adjust.
What's the tariff on bananas? Americans, by the way, love bananas. We buy billions of them a year.
You walk in looking for bananas, find empty bins, and see those bare shelves blowing up online before you hit the next aisle. Suppliers are demanding faster payments to cover their own tariff costs, and Target's cash flow is tighter than it was during the pandemic. CEO Brian Cornell says they're trying to avoid price hikes, but that's looking less likely with every new shipment. Analysts warn that if tariffs don't ease, Target could lose hundreds of millions in cash flow. Managers are already freezing hiring and cutting hours, with rumors of shorter store hours by Halloween. With Thanksgiving turkeys arriving soon, also hit by tariffs, the usual seasonal discounts are in jeopardy. For neighborhoods relying on Target for fresh food or medicine, this means longer drives to the next store, sometimes 20 miles away. A policy debate in Washington is turning into empty shelves in your town. If you've noticed those sparse produce sections, let us know in the comments. It's a sign of bigger trouble ahead. Dollar Tree and Family Dollar are taking the hardest hit, and it's shaking their entire business model. Last March, they announced plans to close nearly 1,000 stores, 600 in early 2024, with another 370 to follow as leases run out. Then, in early June, they dropped another bomb. The new tariffs could cut their second quarter profits by half. For a chain built on selling everything for $1, that's catastrophic. A 34% tariff on Chinese goods and 20% on European imports is crushing their ability to stock cheap items like ramen, toilet paper, and cleaning sprays, most of which come from Asia. Store managers face a lose-lose choice: raise prices, shrink packages, or pull products altogether. Any of those breaks the dollar store promise that shoppers rely on. Suppliers are pushing for faster payments to survive their own cost increases, squeezing Dollar Tree's cash flow even more. The company's real estate team is already picking which stores to close next, often the only grocery option for rural families within 30 miles. When those stores go dark, people have to drive farther for essentials, spending gas money that wipes out their savings. Employees hear whispers of reduced hours before the public sees the clearance signs. Analysts say if profits keep plummeting, Dollar Tree's debt could spell serious trouble. Washington claims these tariffs will boost American industry, but try telling that to someone now paying $1.49 for a pack of noodles that used to cost $1. If your local dollar store shut down, share your story in the comments. The next wave of closures is already on the way. Even Amazon, with all its tech prowess, is hitting a brick wall. On June 23rd, they closed an Amazon Fresh store in Federal Way, Washington, leaving 125 workers to be reassigned. That's a sign their high-tech grocery model isn't holding up under tariff pressure. Just 3 weeks earlier, an internal memo revealed they're merging Whole Foods into a new grocery structure over the next year, cutting redundant roles and moving corporate staff to Amazon's pay system. Profits have been weak since the $13.7 billion Whole Foods buyout, with Amazon's grocery share at just 1.4% and Whole Foods at 1.6%, nothing compared to Walmart's 21%. The real problem is the tariffs. 2/3 of U.S. vegetables and half of its fruits and nuts come from Mexico and Canada, now hit with a 25% duty since February. That's a direct hit on every avocado Amazon delivers. Each percentage point of tariff inflates shipping costs, as refrigerated trucks can't wait for cheaper routes. A closed store here, a corporate overhaul there, and tariffs driving up the cost of every crate of greens. It's a recipe for trouble. Next-day delivery doesn't mean much when strawberries cost more to ship than to grow. Amazon can cut jobs and streamline operations, but tariffs don't bend to code. If your Prime order's showing higher prices on produce, that's the math behind those 105 job transfers and Whole Foods budget cuts. Drop a comment if you've seen those costs creep up. This is the bigger picture. Walmart's closing stores, Kroger's scrapping expansion, Target's shelves are emptying, Dollar Tree's abandoning its dollar pledge, and Amazon's algorithms can't outrun the tariff wave. One policy change has turned grocery stores into economic fault lines, hitting jobs, communities, and budgets. Every extra cent on fruit, rice, or cleaning supplies ripples through supply chains and lands on your table. Yet the claim persists that these tariffs will save American industry, even as the fallout paints a different story. Over the next year, Washington has a choice: dial back the tariffs to ease grocery prices, or dig in and risk more food deserts. Either way, the retail landscape is changing, and so is the cost of your morning coffee. Will a tariff rollback by Thanksgiving bring prices down? Or will new taxes in January mean more shuttered stores? Let us know in the comments. Is easing tariffs the only way to save family budgets? Or is a pricier grocery bill worth the trade-off? This fight isn't just in Washington. It's about whether you can still afford that carton of orange juice